Get out your pep, boys, because this is Fallout. Season 1, Episode 1, currently available on Amazon Prime Video for those subscribers. And it has audio description. Of course it does, because it's definitely one of the biggest new shows of the year. Uh, Certainly for Amazon, possibly just in general. I can't wait to see what the viewership numbers are on this because they should be really high. But click subscribe because I plan on actually recapping this entire series because I do think that Fallout is worth it. I watched the pilot. I like the pilot. It's from Jonathan Nolan. I know that name sounds familiar. It should. Yeah, it's he's worked a lot with, Christopher Nolan. It's shocker. um, but Jonathan's also been responsible for stuff like Westworld, and it's really interesting to see because I think the first season of Westworld was perfect. That is one of my favorite like seasons of a show, of any show. Because I don't actually like the rest of Westworld that much. It goes downhill sort of. Season 2 is okay. I didn't like season 3, and season 4 kind of rebounded from season 3. That's how I feel about Westworld. Um, but season 1, perfection. Like, I probably later on in life will watch Westworld again, and I'll just watch the first season again. And I won't even bother going with 2, 3, and 4. I'll just rewatch the first one and be like, and let's pretend there were no more seasons to Westworld. Because I think it's that good. And I don't know about Fallout. I don't know how he's going to do Fallout. I don't know if Fallout is going to be one of those things where the season 1 is incredible and then the next couple seasons are meh, but it's certainly, in addition to having a strong audio description track, feels like the video game. Feels like they're doing a good job of paying homage without. I didn't have a feeling that this was a direct adaptation to what I played. Now, granted, there are multiple versions of Fallout. There are multiple games, and I'm not gonna say I played every Fallout. Have I played Fallout in video game? Yeah, I've played a Fallout before, but I have not played all of them. So they could be using sort of an amalgamation of characters because there were themes and ideas here that I didn't quite remember. And definitely when you're playing a video game, you're starting with a protagonist, like one protagonist. And this film seems to want to separate and show us 3 different possible protagonists, who are all sort of leading 3 different stories and converging from there. I don't think the cast is highly recognizable, but Walton Goggins is in this, and if I were to talk about his character too much, it would be kind of spoilery for the pilot. So, heads up on that. But it's also really the only other big name that I saw was Kyle MacLachlan, who isn't one of I wouldn't say he's one of the 3 leads. So he just is in this. You've got a sort of a flashback to the past before the bombs, before everything happened. And Walton Goggins starts out playing a cowboy, like an actor or whatever, and he's doing this birthday party, and he's got his daughter there, and he, there's this whole thing about will he do the thumb and the thumb up and not or not, and he explains that when he was in war, what a thumb meant, and it was used to uh, you know, describe sort of clouds. Like if you saw a mushroom cloud and it was bigger than your thumb, what that meant. And he's going through that whole explanation, which is, if you've never seen the show, if you've never seen the video games, there's sort of like a really iconic Fallout image, which actually they do describe later on in the series, of the Fallout Boy. I had to say it. I had to. It's that's not what they call it, but it's the band. Yes, it's a band name, and I threw that in there because it's so appropriate with his thumb out. And yeah, it's used in a lot of imagery for the video games, and it's weird to, like, because we're giving that context and everything too, and I thought it was cool, but then we flash, like some bombs drop, and we flash over 200 years into the future, and we see some people who are, down in the vaults, the Vault 32 or whatever. And there's this, thing between Vault 32 and 33, and this one girl who doesn't have a genetic match to procreate with, so they want to trade with the other vault that's next to them. And that does not go well. And it leads to a lot of action sequences in the film, in the show. We do get to meet other members of her family, because there's a lot of that area is her family. They're all like cousins, or her brother, and her father are all there. And because they've been hiding out in this underground bunker thing. And they're all waiting for the time when the radiation has diminished enough that they can actually resurface. And, like, which generation would be able to do that? And they're trying to prep for that. But, spoiler, there are actually people living on the surface already. So, and they kind of come in contact with raiders, and we see that. And then there's another group that is focused just entirely on, like, the preservation of artifacts, like things from the past that they're trying to hunt down and preserve for historical purposes. And they've got they have ships and like knights in armor, and they all have their own little squires that carry things around. So the story is about this other guy that is in training to become a squire, and he at first isn't chosen, and then through some events ends up getting chosen. So you have sort of Walton Goggins, you have this girl who wants to get pregnant, and this guy that wants to be a squire, and those seem to be the three leads that we are following, at least coming out of the pilot. And some characters sort of around them that we're likely to see. It does suggest there's this season on Fallout. If you stick through the episode, they do that, and they do cut back to the people in the vault and the other, like her brother and stuff down there in the vault, and continue to follow that story. So I don't know if Wade, I think his name is, becomes a main character, but this is basically everything that I kind of remembered. And I was not, I was kind of involved with the, trying to be like, how close to the video game is this going to be? Are we gonna, but it feels like it's inspired by Fallout, by the amalgamation of Fallouts, like all the different video games, and not necessarily one Fallout. But when I played, I always remembered playing as a male protagonist, and none of these characters would have aligned with, in the way that I remember playing the game, that direct line. So that's what I'm saying when I say it feels like that they're taking a page from the book, but then also trying to do something a little bit different with it. I trust Jonathan Nolan, again, because of Westworld, at least with being able to cohesively wrap us in this world and bring us in. There's enough here that is audio described that is really specific to, oh, if you played the video games, you would get this. And they explain it well enough for people who wouldn't play, who, if you didn't play the video games, you are still getting the explanation, the definition behind a lot of this stuff. So I think this is really accessible to everybody. I don't think this is just for people who play video games. I liked it. I think it's a really strong pilot. It did a really good job of introducing everybody to me. If it jumps between characters pretty well, it established everybody that I needed to know. The audio description is solid. I'm sad that because Amazon wants to, believes that people want to binge watch, that I didn't get the credits because it put me in the second episode because there was already more than one episode released. I just wanted to talk about the pilot. I just think the pilots are important still because I think you're never guaranteed more than one episode. And you're not really even guaranteed that. So, I think this is a worthy pilot. And I think this is likely going to be a worthy TV series. I think this is going to be a huge hit for Amazon. And hopefully they will stick with it. And this will go on to become one of their new sort of benchmarks that allows people to continue to get sucked into Prime Video and all that they do. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to give Fallout an A. I'm happy. Played the video games, watched the show, thought the show was good. Perhaps in the second episode, we'll talk a little bit more about Walton Goggins' character, because then when I start talking about the second episode, I will have expected you to have seen the first, which will answer a lot of questions. But in this one, I don't really feel like telling you how to incorporate him into the show beyond the opening scene. So just other than the fact that he's in the show. Figure it out. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you click that subscribe button. And like I said, I'm going to keep recapping this. So this will be part of my rotation. And I'll try to recap it as quickly as possible, kind of like what I'm doing with Three Body Problem, but I don't binge. So, yeah, there you go. And I'll see you guys on the other side.